Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, was written and directed by Rian Johnson. This is the sequel to The Force Awakens, and one that probably no one anticipated to be as it was received. I was terrified to watch The Last Jedi. If you watch my Force Awakens review, you know I went through the most disturbing rewatching experience I ever had. Just imagine loving a movie for about 10 years. And after all that time, you watch it again, and it completely changes from a movie you love to a movie that is so empty, just feels like a movie that is from another universe, from a universe that you don't like, Force Awakens. So I was terrified that the same was gonna happen with Last Jedi, because from the first time I watched it, I've always loved it, and I never got why some people hate it. A lot of people hate it, honestly. So I finally watched it with the same friends I watched Force Awakens, and I can tell you that Last Jedi has personality. It has a filmmaker's voice that is not interrupted by some marketing or commercial strategy to bring people again to Star Wars or something like that with Millennium Falcon and Star Destroyers and that stuff. No, it's a film that is trying to tell a story, a compelling story. Thank fucking God. Oh my God. Yeah, Last Jedi, tap that ass. What the fuck happened?
It passed like a fleeting shadow, and I was left with shame.
Genuinely, I was disturbed by how empty Force Awakens felt. Like I said in my review, Force Awakens is a film that loves Star Wars. That's everything that it does. Last Jedi develops Star Wars. It makes you think about things that you never thought of. It's very thought-provoking. I've always said that from the opening action sequence alone, this film is better than The Force Awakens. In fact, I don't remember any other space battle in Star Wars that has this much structure and tension. It's always just fun, pew pew pew, and all that shit, But A New Hope probably was the last one that really I was like in the moment, immersed. Last Jedi sequence is not just fun. We have Poe and BB-8 doing a lot of stuff in the first minutes, but once the resistant bombers come into play, it becomes tense. Once the bombers are just destroyed one by one, and there's one left, from that moment that we follow Paige Tico, a character that we don't know how important it is to the film, or at least to another character in the movie, is just another resistance soldier. I was saying, oh my God, you did exactly what I wanted you to do for a long time. One of the things that I've always said about the original trilogy is that, yeah, I care for the heroes, I care for the galaxy and all that stuff, but I never care about the resistance soldier, or the rebel soldiers in that case. Last Jedi, from the opening action sequence, does that. And I remember being in the theater, oh my God, I care for these people. The resistance here feels like a group of real humans. It doesn't feel like just bodies to be expendable for these battles. The way that they react in every scene, it feels like different human beings. I mean, from the moment she falls and she hits the floor with her back, from that moment on, I was like, yeah, this is a real movie. But the detonator scene, that she's trying to like kick the ladder so the detonator falls, the detonator passes next to her, and she's like, holy shit, and then she grabs it, which, yeah, it's very movie-like, but again, you feel that tension. This sequence alone works as a short film, and that's what the best movies do. Best movies have sequences that each of them feels like short films, and just with this opening action sequence alone, it sets you up that these people are actually like people that you will care about. And it's very important for the rest of the movie, because it's not just this sequence that you feel like the resistance is being just pumped to the ground, It's the entire film. The entire film is about the resistance just losing ships, losing people, to the point that they're just cornered in this planet called Crate, and they're just with these old rusty buckets, like Poe says. And you feel that throughout the whole movie. You feel like, oh my God, what they're gonna do now? Oh yeah, the stuff with the island, with Rey, Luke, and Kylo in Skype, in a Skype meeting. I love everything that they do with Luke. But I gotta be honest with you, I always thought Anakin was way more interesting than Luke. Probably it's because I grew up with the prequels and then I watched the original trilogy. But Luke has always been a great protagonist. It's just that I'm more interested in other characters in the original trilogy. Luke is way more interesting because of Last Jedi. That's the way I see it. Luke has grown up in this film, for the better, for the worse, probably more towards the worst, but he's become wiser in some things, or more objective in some things. For instance, the Jedi. He looks at the Jedi facts through history, And he's like, yeah, these guys are fuck-ups. And yeah, the Jedi are fuck-ups, you know? Yeah, they're guardians of peace and they have done incredible things, but I mean, their failure is immense. And he knows that. But also, he truly loves the Force. That's the first lesson he teaches Rey. The Force is like this thing that doesn't belong to the Jedi. It's just this thing that lives through the dead, through the living. I love that moment, by the way. There are a lot of moments in the island stuff that is just incredible. R2-D2 showing the hologram message of Leia, all the Skype conversations between Rey and Kylo, the scene of the cavern with Rey, it's very creative, and the flashbacks moments. It's actually one flashback, but from 3 different perspectives. But the moment that truly broke me was when Kylo sees Luke. His reaction breaks my fucking heart, and it makes Kylo Ren even better. And the other moment is obviously Yoda. The moment he says, the greatest teacher failure is. I got goosebumps. I genuinely got goosebumps. I don't know why, but I mean, yeah, I know why. It's just that I normally don't get goosebumps. I'm not that type of guy who says, oh, that was good, I got goosebumps. No, like it's very hard for me to get those emotions out of a film. I criticized Rey in the first film, Force Awakens. There's some things that I like about her character. And I think Rian Johnson took all the few things that work about her character and expanded upon this film, okay? And that's why the character struggles in this film. The thing that she is afraid of herself, she is alone, and the things about her parents. All that stuff was probably the most compelling about the character in the first film. And Johnson took all the things, and you can tell how he's trying to make Rey as compelling as he can, but he's trying to respect the character that was set up in The Force Awakens. And that truly is my biggest issue with The Last Jedi, is the fact that it's not that he's wrong, it's just that he's respecting Force Awakens to the point that the things that didn't work are affecting this film. Rey is not the best character in the movie, but it has improved a lot since the last film. And her relationship with Kylo Ren is truly great and way better than the relationship that she had with Kylo Ren in the first film. The first film, my issue, and this is something that my friends and I talked about after watching Force Awakens, is the fact that her struggles and Kylo Ren's struggles are completely different. So when they come together, it's not that compelling. In Empire, for instance, what are the struggles of Luke? Not turning to the dark side. What are the struggles of Vader? Finding Luke to turn him into the dark side. When they meet each other, it's very compelling. But in Force Awakens, it wasn't compelling because both of them were struggling with different things. So that's the way I see it. Last Jedi, they struggle with the same thing. They feel alone. They feel that they are not understood. They feel that their master failed them. It creates this beautiful relationship between the hero and the villain. And very compelling. All the scenes with Rey and Kylo are amazing. Talking about respecting The Force Awakens, there's this complaint that has always bugged me. And it has always bugged me because I never got it. Is the fact that this film retcons The Force Awakens. This is coming from someone who was a fan of The Force Awakens and Last Jedi. And let me tell you, I never got that complaint. I watched The Last Jedi in 2017 when I used to love Force Awakens, and I never felt that. I felt that this film progressed the story of The Force Awakens and made it better. Like I said, in fact, I see that this film is actually respecting Force Awakens. So yeah, I never got that complaint. I don't get it. You know, I think that one of the things that people are gonna point on in the comments is the Snoke thing. Oh, they never revealed who Snoke was, and all these theories that we have were all for nothing. You know, yeah, there were your theories. For myself, Snoke was always Snoke. This character that was horrible. I hated Snoke in The Force Awakens. So when they kill him off, you can imagine my reaction in the theater. I want to talk about Poe. One of my friends said the exact same thing I thought of when I watched The Last Jedi for the first time in theaters. He said, Poe is 10 times more interesting just with the first 10 minutes. Poe is amazing in this film. In fact, I will go as far as saying that he's my favorite hero of the new heroes in The Last Jedi. I love everything that they do with him. And like my friend said, you really care about his choices, but also his thought process. With Poe, you get all the things that he does. Is he completely right? Maybe not, but you understand why. But yeah, his choices have consequences from the opening sequence alone. But that's war. War, it's about people making choices that maybe they are not completely right, but those are the choices that they think that are right. And maybe in the future they have consequences. They all mostly have always consequences. And you see that with Poe. This is an arc about Poe becoming a leader. And Holdo is like his biggest weakness, because Holdo is basically not trusting him at all, and just like, okay, Leia is in a coma, I'm gonna control you because you're reckless, and all our bombers went to the shit, and we're gonna have a fleet because of you. And you're like, oh shit, this woman is very hard on him. And you think that this arc is gonna go in a typical way that movies go, you know, oh, he was right at the end, they were wrong. But it's not like that. Holdo was always right. And a lot of people complain that it doesn't make sense that Holdo doesn't say a word to Poe, to tell him, don't do it, we have a plan, and that's it, don't do it. But it makes sense for me because Holdo doesn't trust Poe. But when Poe stages mutiny and he points a gun at her, you will think that now she's gonna be like, okay, you're pointing a gun at me, I'm gonna tell you the truth. But no. I mean, just like put on her shoes. She's like, I trust you even less. I will tell you even less. It's that simple. But yeah, this movie has moments of accomplishment. We have this amazing moment after Poe finally learned, and he's like, follow me. And Leia is like, what are you looking at me for? Follow him. That moment is a moment of, yeah, fuck yes. The Finn and Rose storyline was always my biggest issue with The Last Jedi, especially the Canto Bight stuff. All that things didn't work for me. Now I don't care. I watched this film and I was just thinking, this is very Star Wars. It reminds me of the prequels, that imagination, and with these worlds and all that stuff, you know. And I was like, I think I don't care all that much about it. Maybe it could be a little bit trimmed, but it's good. It's good. And I love the meaning with the story. And I love how it progresses the character of Finn and Rose. Rose is amazing in the first scene. The first scene, I've always loved Rose. I always thought that she was very cute. And her character is good in the rest of the movie. It's just that little moment, her introduction, I always thought that there was a lot of potential. But her character I liked. I like her character in the rest of the movie. It's just that the first scene, I love her. DJ, the character played by Benicio del Toro, I also like him a lot. He has this speech that he gives to Finn about the arms dealer and the fact that these guys, these rich assholes, are not just getting rich because of the First Order, but also because of the arms and the weapons that are selling to the Resistance. That's the kind of stuff I love about Star Wars. Things like that a kid is gonna watch. When they grow up, they're gonna be, oh, I get now. Oh shit. You know, those things are very Star Wars like. Those things are very thought-provoking, like I said.
You're right. Maybe.
The moment that still doesn't work with that storyline is when Rose saves Finn. That one was so powerful, and then she crashes his ship.
That's how we're gonna win. Not fighting what we hate. Saving what we love.
My friends and I got it. You know, we got the message. It's just that it was unnecessary. Finn versus Phasma is badass. Let's go, Chrome Dome. Fucking awesome. I adore that moment. That's a very cool Finn moment. And he says, I'm Rebel Scum, bitch. When it's about the comedy, it feels more unique than The Force Awakens. Like my friends kept saying throughout the whole watching experience with The Force Awakens, they kept saying with every single joke, that's very Disney-like. Oh, that's very Disney-like. But let me tell you what was the experience watching The Last Jedi. My friends started saying, oh, that's very Disney-like. Oh, that's very Disney-like. But it came a moment when my friend said, that was very Disney-like, but that was cool. But then he turned to us after the Holdo moment and he said, that was a great scene. So yeah, this movie is way better in comedy. And the comedy has a purpose here. The first comedic scene in this film with the post prank call, that moment we were worried. That moment we were like, oh my god, this is very Disney-like, you know? But like most jokes in Last Jedi, they have purpose. Why Poe is giving that prank call to Hux? Because he's trying to stall. There are a lot of jokes like that that actually work for the plot or the story. And sometimes it diffuses the tension. So yeah, the comedy in Last Jedi is really great. It doesn't feel like characters are just saying jokes. No, it actually has a purpose in the story and the plot. Oh, let's talk about Kylo fucking Ren. I didn't talk all that much about Kylo in my Force Awakens review. I don't know why, but I love Kylo. From the first film, I love Kylo and still love Kylo. But in this film, he gets even better. his scenes are even better. Adam Driver as an actor is even better in this movie. And everything they do with him. The fact that this film sets up for episode 9 to have a main villain like Kylo Ren as Skywalker, as literally the emperor of this new trilogy, is so compelling the way that they do it. And yeah, episode 9 did a lot of things wrong. Still, I'm gonna enjoy the third act of this film because Kylo is amazing in this film. I adore everything they do with him. Adam Driver, love you, man. You rock. The throne room sequence happens in this film, and you're like, oh, a throne room sequence in The Last Jedi, in the second film of the trilogy. Okay, that's weird. It's very poetic because in the throne room sequence in Return of the Jedi, Vader kills the Emperor and he turns to the light side. In this film, Kylo kills his Emperor, but he doesn't turn to the light side. So it's a very horrifying, disappointing experience for Rey, that she expected the same thing that happened with Vader. But as Luke said before,
This is not going to go the way you think.
so yeah, this throne sequence is amazing. In fact, like Revenge of the Sith, from the moment Palpatine and Anakin killed Windu, from that moment on, Revenge of the Sith is unstoppable. From the moment Kylo Ren kills Snoke, Last Jedi is also like that. There's not a single moment that is slow or boring. In fact, I will say the entire film is like that. From the first sequence, my friends wanted to know what was going to happen next, because this film is so well written. I mean, just from the moment Luke says, it's time for the Jedi to end, my friend was like, I want to know why. This is how this film works, and it's so cool. And for myself, it has great payoffs. For a lot of people, doesn't, because they wanted to know who Snoke was. They wanted to know who Rey's parents were. Apparently, they're nobody. I didn't care for all that stuff. I just wanted to know what was going to happen in this story and with this character. All those things that were just theories for the internet, I never care about that. I just care about the things out of the story that were cleared from The Force Awakens, not the mysteries and all that stuff. Like I said, The Force Awakens have a lot of questions that, in my opinion, are incredibly boring. The things that clearly happen in The Force Awakens, like Kylo failing to kill Rey or to destroy Rey in the lightsaber duel, I want to know what are the consequences. And here in The Last Jedi, we see the consequences. So it's a great payoff. The Holdo maneuver moment is the closest scene of Star Wars that makes me feel that I'm watching Interstellar. Interstellar is my favorite film, by the way. And Holdo's maneuver feel like Interstellar, with the sound and all that stuff and the epicness of that moment.
There is a moment.
There are a lot of moments in this film and I'm probably skipping some of them because of time, but Jesus Christ, oh my god. We get into the third act on Crate, which by the way is my favorite Star Wars planet. I love the thing about the salt and the fact that the dirt is red. It feels like the planet is bleeding because of war. This Crate sequence creates a perfect circle from the opening sequence in this film, because in the opening sequence Poe is trying to stall Hux, but now the entire resistance from the first moment they're trying to stall the First Order, because the First Order is gonna like destroy the door that they're of the cave that they're in, and so they're trying to stall to wait for everybody in the galaxy who can respond to the Leia's message come and rescue them. So it creates this perfect circle. In fact, the music is the same as the opening sequence. I have to talk about John Williams' score. When it's about John Williams' score, this is the trilogy, the music that he made for this trilogy is probably the weakest one. I love a lot of the themes that were introduced in The Force Awakens. The Rey's theme, Kylo Ren's theme, the March of the Resistance is amazing. But that was it. The themes were great in that film, but like the music, there were a lot of times in the action sequences in that movie that I was like, okay, I just hear like trumpets and that's it, you know. In The Last Jedi, and all the sequences have a lot of great music that you really, it's like, oh, that's the John Williams that I remembered. Luke arrives and he has this amazing, beautiful moment with Leia that is so heartbreaking. And then we have these amazing shots, these epic shots. Look at this. Just look at this. And you feel the moment where the legend of Luke Skywalker is gonna get into the battle. Is gonna fight the First Order. I really don't get why people don't like Luke in this film. I don't get it. He's way more complex as a character. He is flawed, as Luke has always been. And there's a lot of compelling stuff, like I said. A lot of ideas that fans didn't think of, that he introduces with the Jedi stuff and the Force stuff in the island sequence. And then in Crate, he gives one of the most badass appearances I ever seen from a hero. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But the moment Kylo gets out of his ship and walks towards Luke, and we have these like epic Western shots with the music and the environment. You came back to say you forgive me, to save my soul.
No.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps. This is one of my favorite movie moments of all time. Luke against Kylo. All of that moment is just why filmmaking exists. And yet then we have the revelation that Luke is not there. I mean, he couldn't. Like if you think of, in fact, he has a saber in his hand that was broken before. I mean, there's a lot of clues. The fact that he's stepping on the salt and he is not revealing the red underneath it. I mean, there's a lot of clues in this sequence that is telling you Luke is not there. Just look at his hair. He's not there. But the audience does not clue on that because the audience is in the moment. Want to know what's going to happen. He's not thinking about why Luke's hair looks kind of weird. Why he has that blue lightsaber that was broken before. They are not thinking that. They're thinking what was going to happen. Is Luke's going to die? Kylo's going to die? I love that. But when he's shown that he's above that rock, like meditating, just like this. Again, goosebumps. Goosebumps. And then Kylo realizes, you motherfucker. And he screams, no! And that shit. So the Resistance is now saved because of Luke Skywalker. And then we see the kids in Cantabite talking about the story when he was in Crate. Then we are revealed that that kid that we watched in the Cantabite sequence actually has Force powers. And he looks at the stars with the rebel ring that Rose gave him. And he basically takes the broom like if it was a savior. And this is a beautiful ending. One of my friends said something that I never thought of. And it's the fact that as slavery exists, rebellion will exist. Because Rose gave to that kid that ring, that resistance ring, that is a spark that will light the fire, that will burn the First Order down. This is one of those few movies that genuinely inspired me. That genuinely, like, when I watch it, I'm like, I want to make a movie like that. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. That there are only 2 Star Wars films that are perfect in my mind. But Last Jedi is one of the few great ones. Rian Johnson is someone who's just making a movie that he wants to make. You know, that's why I love Empire. Empire was a film that nobody asked for when it came out. Nobody asked for a film like that. But the filmmakers wanted to make that film. That's the way I see Last Jedi. Last Jedi, I see it as a work of art from a filmmaker that didn't care what people asked for. Rian Johnson is one of those few filmmakers that I feel that he gets me. Because he makes the exact films that I want to see. Films that are creative, are unexpected, that actually are thought-provoking. Those type of films are my favorite ones. And I think The Last Jedi is the last creative and pure film ever made in Star Wars. I'm going to give The Last Jedi a 9 out of 10. I really think the messages in The Last Jedi are very clear. And if people don't get it, I don't understand why. If people get it but they don't like it, I also don't understand why. I'm like really excited to see your comments on this film right down below, because like I really want to know. I want to know what people think of right now. Do you still hate The Last Jedi? My recommendation is that if you watched it one time and you completely hate it and you were like, oh, I'm never gonna watch that movie, I hate everything they do in that film, give it a rewatch. In fact, watch the entire series as I've done, and maybe you'll have a different perspective. You know, yeah. Luke Skywalker was this character established in the original trilogy, and now he's different in the new trilogy. Yeah, it's been 30 years. He's gonna change. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. Those are my thoughts in Last Jedi. It's a very special movie in my life. So yeah, that was great. Thank you for watching, like always, guys. Like I said, I can't wait for your comments on this video. Take care of your time.